Oh, I'm a sick little baby. I'm a sick little guy. And we're getting into the second half of this year of our trial. Alright, so for any of you that are just joining us, we are in the second half of the first court case. What we did so far is we basically had to prove to the court that there was another person at the table where the guy was murdered. And we did that by showing that the single plate that was at the table was actually the other person's, because the guy that got shot had just gotten serious dental work, and he could not have eaten because he was under orders from his dentist not to eat. So the 22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Oh, I forgot. I need to get into mystery mode. Mystery mode. Where are you? Mystery mode. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's setting the mood. That's setting the mood is what that's doing. Here we are. The 22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants, Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. I didn't think I was going to do voices, but I don't think I can not do voices. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe some of them will be better because I'm sick. Ugh, my heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, nailing it. Your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. All things I've done today. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimony. Damn straight. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Oh, forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Ha 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 ha. Oh god, that was like all my energy right there. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Oh, we have, okay. We're already kicking into the plot. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Oh, shoot, wrong character. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. That's right. Know what you're good at. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? I don't think so. No, I didn't see any of it. I was looking at the gun. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, bang! I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Huh. Okay. Ah. There you are. Well done, both of you. Oh, this is the old man, isn't it? Yeah. Professor Mikotoba. Yes. Or Mikotoba. It might be Mikotoba. We'll see. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Like you knew, dude. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so I wouldn't be able to act as lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference, lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life. I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? Oh, that voice may not keep working here. Water! So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. Oh, me too. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. What? Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UME. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. That's true. Gasp. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Arigato. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Ah, I was gonna say, she's on the box. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. Alright. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Okay. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. These old before these old fossils know what hit them. Yeah. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Aw, good moment. One sec. Beep, 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 boop. Beep, boop. Using my idiot box. One moment. Boop. Sweet. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. Yeah, it does. Man, I just want a never-ending headband. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Hell yeah. "22nd of November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, courtroom number 2. Alright, here come the crazy voices. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aoichi, or Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds.
And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Ugh, sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Oh, again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nation is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. Man, I love Kazuma. I feel like I need to raise my picture just a little bit. Beep, beep. No, not that. Beep. This. Beep, 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 beep. Aha. Transition. We've done it. Yes. Check one other thing here really quick. That's not what I wanted to type in. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. Beep. Alright. Yeah, we're moving on. They're good. We can see everything now. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up, you jumped-up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing! Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in! By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong! Diplomacy has never been more critical! Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures! I won't deny that I'm no expert, I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke. Oh! Ah, nailed it. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Council. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. I think that's probably better. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. Hello, Sean Connery in there. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Oh, man, can't do that voice for long. Your Excellency! He just believes in the law, yo. Look at that hat! I want that hat! It's a SWAT hat! Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea! Ah yes, another judge in one of these games that loves feeding stereotypes. Is that true? Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. Oh, of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Carnival, but Yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. Well, here comes the running joke. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes. I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description of this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Inosuke, but your powers of observation aside, your powers of description are solely lacking. Nice. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Oh, I gotta think of a voice for her. I mean, she's from England. Okay. She's got a mask. And she's speaking in English, is my guess, and that's why we can't understand her. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, no. Everyone in the courtroom was silent. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? Oh, so I can speak English. Oh, is he gonna translate for her? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in UMA University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yeah, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? Whisper, 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 English, English. Whisper, whisper, English, English, whisper, English. Oh, she's not from the South, Bill. She says, yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. My thoughts exactly. English whispers. Whisper, 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 whisper. A whisper, 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 a whisper, Lou, whisper, whisper, whisper. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Oh, whisper, 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 whisper. Apparently it was very frightening and a sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Oh no. Alright, so we gotta get around this now. Order! Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Yeah. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Oh, whisper, 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 whisper. Why does my whisper always sound? Now, I wonder if at some point she's going to start talking. Because she's going to know what we're saying. A frightening and sorrowful sight. Oh, whisper. I'm English and I'm whispering. Whisper, 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 whisper. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. That holds true with what we know. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. Okay, that holds true too. Whisper, 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 whisper. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. That is not what happened. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. That is not what happened at all. Whisper, 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 whisper. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Uh-huh. Nice try, lady. This is a condemning... Yes! No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe!
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. What? That doesn't make sense, because he said he was told to get her, take her somewhere. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal her firearm. Oh, bullshit. Look at that hat. Actually, there is a real-ass historical sword journal written by a man named McBain, who's, I think he got through like 70-plus duels back when he was at his peak. And one of his rules is make sure your opponent always takes off their hat because they might be hiding a gun in it. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit she wanted to. Amen.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ugh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Jeez. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. What was that smile? The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Okay, I don't think we're going to press this stuff in the beginning. But we're going for perfect scores. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. Let's press this just to see what they were meeting about.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right?
Oh! She said something. No.
Ah!
A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems, so it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. That makes sense. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? That's what I wanted to know. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. Yeah.
Yes.
He was unable to eat, you say? We knew that. And that was because he'd just had a tooth removed at Hoda Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She had heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So, that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience! To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world to be embroiled in such a tragic incident.
Now, I think what Ryunosuke was onto there was that I think the table may have been flipped.
Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So, the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Oh, well, where's the what? Where's the water bottle? Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. But there's only one glass in the picture. They each raised a glass of carbonated water? What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? It's very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing,
Oh, come on, let me tell them. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Okay. Okay, good. We did something right there.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you have said to be added to your... kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. English, English whispers. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Okay, here we go. So we're trying to pick this lady's testimony apart. She is accusing us of killing a professor at a table. We just picked apart two witnesses in our first, the first part of this court case, and we're basically trying to save our ass from this one. I ordered a beefsteak for myself and the professor, and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. I'm gonna press this just because I want to look, because there's not, let's see, examine. There's only one glass there. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see what happens.
Yes.
Come on. That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Haha! I think we nailed it. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says.
Smack!
Well, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what is this what's odd in this defense's inability to express itself?
Oh. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
Aha! Nailed it.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. There's only one glass in the picture. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses at the table, not 1. Ah! You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia?
Man, every time I see the word minutia, the spelling just throws me off.
What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make in this case?
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. You drew the map on your card, dude, but there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Whisper, 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 whisper. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! Sorry. Sorry. Man, my accents don't work when I'm not feeling well. As I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Bullshit. Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
Where did she hide it? That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Amen. Whisper, 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 whisper. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Oh, shit. Now there's a handbag. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small, handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on this case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing.
Except now we know where she hid the gun.
No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider this matter to have no bearing on the case. What? Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? No. Well, I don't know, really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it had some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag 100%. Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes. Do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Like a pistol? Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce that there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
I'm sweating. You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Yeah, screw you, prosecution.
Order, order, order! What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Oh, the blood again. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. You've given us no reason to have faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary? In what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. Jesus. This photographic print of the handbag. This is and of course it's a see-through bag. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. There's a stake tattoo on the victim's wrist. I'm sure that's going to be important. Oh, hey, Plain Bonnie Curse. No, you're not too late at all. We're still solving the mystery. We're having a good time right now. So, I'll catch you up once we get to a good little moment here. Really quick. Basically, we are being accused of murdering this dude that's dead in this chair. We have proven that there was another person there eating dinner with this guy. And it's this woman that we are currently cross-examining. Yes, we didn't do it. Exactly. So, we are trying to prove that this woman murdered this guy, or at least know something more about it. And the last thing we did was prove that she had a way to conceal a gun, which was this handbag, which we are now being shown apparently only had a glass in it. I'm sure there's going to be some trick here. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. I see right through to what's inside. I'm sure she hid the hat. I am Bake Off and lawyers prove it exactly. I am 100% sure right now that the gun was hidden in her hat. If good old McBain has taught me anything, it's make sure your dueling partner isn't hiding a gun in your hat. That's right. Oh, and she only speaks English, apparently, even though she's been studying in Japan for 3 years. And this inspector is interpreting for her. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Yeah, so sus. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. I mean, she's wearing a mask. Thanks for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. I'm sure that the tattoo on his arm is going to be a thing.
Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
I need to see the bag. I'm sure there's either, like, a compartment in the bag or the guns in her hat.
Certainly, Your Excellency.
Okay, so the photograph of the handbag has been entered in the court record. It says, a photograph taken by Hosonaga-san after the incident occurred. It shows Miss Brett's handbag on a chair by the victim's table. Okay.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel.
Okay, I want to look at the court record really quick because I want to look. So, what I was talking about, just to show you. So, on the plate, there is that bowl on the right side of the plate, the little bull emblem. I'm going to see if it'll... So this thing. Yeah. But then, on the victim's wrist is also that emblem. There's no way that that's not something. It must be. Can I rotate this picture? Is it going to let me? No. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be a bird or a brand. 100%. But we don't know why that's important yet. We've just managed to catch it.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence, as the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance.
We're going to talk about the burn for sure.
I am satisfied there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
They're also trying to end this case early so we can, like, keep relations between Japan and England, like, solid. So it's just dirty at this point.
Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
Oh, God. That's how I feel right now. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Oh, Kazuma. Kazuma? We know things are bad because his headband isn't moving in the wind.
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat.
Okay.
You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. If we lose this case, Kazuma can't go study in Britain. And we'll never have an opportunity to do it ever again. Kazuma.
What?
Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? There must be. Oh man, that'd be crazy if the prosecutor has that brand too.
You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Which means there's no... I hate him too.
There's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
Can I do something?
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence...
Oh, okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. Wait! Your Excellency! Here we go.
Ryunosuke?
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This amateurishness is getting tedious.
Wow, I've never seen the word amateurishness written out. That is hard to read.
When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance. There's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, the ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
Yeah, there sure can. We already found it. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone this court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Yeah, it's absolutely right, Plain Brawny Curse. I want to see him go down, too.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. We already know. Let us do it.
Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
Gasp!
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect.
Wow, that's intimidating.
Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency. Oh, no, wrong voice. Yes, Your Excellency.
So take another look at the photographic print, Inspector, Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
This guy, it's gotta be. 100% must be. Okay. We're gonna do it. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right.
Okay.
Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
Bullshit, we know where his plate is. It's on his plate. We know where this came from.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape on this mark. However, as Prosecutor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Oh, we found it. We got this. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Whisper, 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 whisper. Yes. Grab the bull by the horns, indeed.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
I'm a judge.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? We know there's hope because his headband is flying again.
Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to pry this shutting door back open again. Man, sometimes you see words like pry, and that's not how you thought it was spelled. Nope.
Gasp. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Too bad we already have. We already figured it out. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence... evidence that irrefutably linked the burn to the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Haha! Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. We already have it. We already know. Just waiting for that moment. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. So for those of you watching, we have had this photo of the crime scene. And there's a burn mark now on the... so let me make sure I press the right buttons here. So we are looking at this picture. We are trying to find this mark. This mark. Okay. And we have seen this mark once before on the dinner. See that? Definitely the same thing. Definitely a burn. This is going to get interesting. So we are going to go ahead and present this. Boom.
Yes!
Yes! What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady further would really be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. She's gonna talk here soon, I bet. She's gonna show to us that she knows what we're saying. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection! You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy! If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Locking on. Oh, my thumb. There we go. Locked on and fire the missiles.
Yes! The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Aha! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Rianowski, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. Nailed it.
Objection! But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Oh? Sadly, Prosecutor Oichi, the chances of that are extremely slim. It's probably because the doctor was getting his teeth removed beforehand. Thanks.
Oh, I just realized this is my favorite music. The Phoenix Wright, like, boo doo doo boo doo doo boo doo boo 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 boo. It's so good.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
So the waiter's also a police detective, and he was trying to frame us from the very beginning.
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure.
Snap. Can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, hot. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then.
And is it possible that the black powder from the pistol, like, made the plate hotter? Oh, he's a police detective, so he might know the science of it.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes.
Yes.
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day,
that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, Sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchi?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So, the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I'm wondering if he tried to, like, use the plate to defend himself or something.
I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think...
Oh, you're right! Plain Bonnie cursed. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. Oh man, I don't know. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. But we talked to him. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. Are we doing it? Because there's no way he hadn't noticed the burn. Even if he was asleep, yeah, he was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. This just got juicy.
Counsel, are you suggesting...
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Yeah, or he died at the beginning of dinner like he was poisoned.
Dead?
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. Smack! When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
He's just my old professor, Dr. Bob. I can't unsee it now.
Order, 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 please. Council, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right! That's absolutely right, Your Excellency! Help, everyone! I'm turning into a duck! This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp on the facts!
No, Prosecutor Aoichi. It's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? I'm really happy I timed that with the point. Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events.
I love these games. They're so much fun. I think the stories are really great.
I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency!
Is she gonna talk now?
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Are we gonna see your face? Nope. What's she smiling about? What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Now she's speaking Japanese. She's known what we've been saying this whole time. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country, after all.
But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
Yeah, South London. I'm working on it. My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Lots of sweat. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Oh, well... You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. This lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
Ugh, man. I'm sweating in here, and it actually feels really nice. Getting my own little sauna.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
Dots. So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Okay, here we go. So, plain body curse, pay attention here. We're going to need to find so we can either press some of her testimony, or we can present evidence that shows that that contradicts her testimony. So we're going to have to decide what we want to do. I still think she hid her gun in that hat. Because McBain. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report shows no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Man. I'm having such a hard time switching, I'm sliding in between Southern American and English.
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it.
I hope this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue.
Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer, then? Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Yes! The old anime psych-up. Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Alright, here we go. So, let's go through it slowly together. Alright, the victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. Okay? So that is one thing that we can potentially press. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. Well, we already know that we know she hid the one glass, so we do know that there were two glasses. So that one seems pretty straightforward, although I'd want to ask the waiter about that one. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Let's, I want to look... I don't want to present anything yet. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. There are lots of ways. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Great, so we're going to go through it again, and we're going to press things. I think this could be hard work. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give away, so he's telling me to press her. The Englishwoman knows that only too well. She's quite formidable. Dr. Wilson's burn tells us something, I'm sure. I need to use this cross-examination to find that out. Oh yeah, she was a medical student with him. Like, he was her teacher. First things first, I'm gonna press her on everything she said and try to make her blurt something out. Yep. What is it, Kazuma? What are you thinking? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing. He's probably thinking that we're doing a good job. Because, like, we weren't gonna be in law until this started happening. Okay, so, I think we have to press this.
Yes!
Because that's her saying that... Yeah, but his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed. Also, burning flesh, that's a smell. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Yeah! Haha, what fun! You hadn't realized.
Dear lady is absolutely right.
So they're trying to take our powers of observation into question. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Oh, why didn't you tell me?
Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
What, like he was going through some kind of seppuku?
Ah, yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Well, I can't.
Anyway.
When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Okay, we're gonna press this too.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember.
He just had his wisdom teeth removed. Or like a tooth pulled.
Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although...
Although?
Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table. Ooh, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
Damn you.
Ah, I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means, bless you.
I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway.
As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report shows no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Can I do this and then go back? Okay, good. Let's look at the post-mortem report. Okay. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Okay. Just making sure. Now, it's possible that the gun didn't even have a bullet in it. Back. Back. Oh, the first photo? Okay, I'll show you the evidence. So we have, this is, let me make sure I'm pressing the right button. So this is the photo of him getting shot. This is the photo you haven't seen yet. And so that's the wound. And he was shot in the front, we know. We used that to break up some other witnesses' testimony earlier in the case. Okay, I'm gonna press this for sure.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
I have a feeling that one of these is going to be pretty apparent. Yes.
Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And there was no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death.
Yeah, exactly.
It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Oh, so it could have been the water. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on a hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point.
And yet, the fact that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest, until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Auchi is right.
Man, Ernie's been super barky tonight. Now, do we have evidence there? If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. We're going to press this just to be thorough.
Yes!
I think we can do... I think we can... If we don't get anything from this, I think we can present the picture with the meal showing that there was one glass with water in it, and her glass is empty. So we might even be able to show the bag with the empty glass in it. I've got some thoughts. So this is when this game, like, this is still the easiest difficulty. Like, this is the first case, so it's still really easy. Once we get towards later cases, like, we're gonna have to chat these out.
because I'm at the very least gonna have to think out loud. Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
No. As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone exactly how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. I found it. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Taketsuchi Aochi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Okay, I think I've got this figured out. Okay, so... Oh, no, I don't think we can do anything here. I think it's this one, right? Oh no, this one. Okay, so we have... You think it's the next one? The any other cause of death? Okay. So, so should we do the drink on the table? So that's this picture. So this, the drink, it's clearly been drunk. Okay. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna present. I know, I'm nervous too. So if you see in the upper right, those little stars, we do have essentially 5 strikes. And it is my #1 goal to not look at any guides on this. Like, we are solving these on our own. Okay, so let's try it.
Yes!
Yes! Well, what about that last statement made by the witness? Oh, I think we did it. Because he would say something like, and here's an obligatory statement that means something. And the judge goes, hey, screw you, dude. Oh, maybe. It seems perfectly reasonable to me. Exactly! Perfectly reasonable in every way. Perhaps you should, take a leaf out of the witness's book and learn to be more reasonable yourself. Okay, so that wasn't right. It's okay. Alright, I just need to calm down and think everything through again from the start.
Hey everyone, Mr. Barkhorn here. I'm gonna save you a little bit of your time. I spend the next roughly 30 minutes trying to solve the mystery, but it turns out the tutorial beat me because I didn't press that last statement when I thought I had. So if you caught that, good job. If you get to this point of the game, all you need to do is press every single one of the things that she says, and then you'll get this delightful little extra bit of information, which you'll see in a second. So I hope I've saved you a little time. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're enjoying the mystery. I'm feeling much better than I was when I was filming this. And so thank you all so much for the support. Like and subscribe if you're having fun. I'm Mr. Barkhorn. Back to the mystery.
I was pressing this one. What do you mean by that? In the lands of Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Oh, did we press this one before? It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand. Haha, a killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
So before that? So the fact that they couldn't have taken evidence. Oh, I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, it's not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. Oh! Holy shit. Okay, you want to know what just happened? We just got put into a thing where we were literally supposed to press everything, and it wasn't going to let us do anything without this new piece of evidence, is what just happened. Yeah. Ugh. I know, I'm a little mad too, because I thought we did press everything. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective, he has been coughing up blood. He seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. Oh man, I'm so mad. When I put this on YouTube, I'm gonna just edit that and be like, turns out there was no mystery to solve here. But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, I can go back to my voices now. Let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. That's so funny. So we're going to the last statement. Here, press it. Press it real good.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just as after today's incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation this moment takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's just lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? Oh, is that a command I get? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? Oh! Let's introduce some game mechanics. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. So we can switch between them. But by moving the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people on the stand. While you're looking at the... I mean, I'm sure we have it all figured out, Plain Bonnie. Like, let's be real here. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you catch that person at just the right time, you might be able to uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. That's really cool, though. Alright then. So first I should move the marker across with left and right and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with A. Let's see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly. Which means the... so can we move? Go! I want to pursue. I am pressing the... There we go. Alright, alright, alright. So, and then A. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Excuse me!
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
What is the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Oh, shit. Yes! Not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Geography. That's great. Geography is also taught in law school. Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. I forgot his voice for a second. She doesn't like that. The lady's right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Oh, snap. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. The bottle! Ha-ha! Take this, for example. Can I pursue her? No. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. Oh, which means the poison is still there. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. Well, you're not going to see it because you've got the consumption. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Alright, okay, here we go. Now we've got this bottle. Ms. Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Well, she didn't drink from it. Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel. You may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ooh, oh, sweat my eye. One sec. Okay, now, let's look at that first. So we're going to go to our... Here we go. Carbonated water the victim and Miss Brett shared on the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table. Okay, let's examine it. We can look around it. Can we empty it? Okay, so let's look at the label. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Well, then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Okay, wait. I want to get it... Is there anything else I can look at? Anything at the top? So it would go... So no, there's nothing else I can look at here. Wait. So this carbonated water is the last drink Mr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. Don't drink it. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Rinosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder. I think we can present this for the how can you kill somebody without... Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Ah, okay. Anything where she says, there's no, like, if there's any other possible way. That's it, connecting it to that. Okay. We know now. Where is that one? Yes, here it is. Present.
Yes!
Damn it! No! Okay, maybe it's the next one. The last one. It's definitely present the water. Oh, there. It's the, this. Let's please do show her.
Yes!
Oh, the music stopped. We did it. We did it. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. We've been on board this whole time. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
I know, finally. We got ahead of the tutorial. On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Oh. Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you! Oh, look at that little...
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence, you little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered how the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling of what your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire country?
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Grr! If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgrace.
Shut up!
It is you who should be silent. Of course.
I like that she had her own text.
Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She just snapped. Do we get to see her face finally? I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not? Of course. Oh, bullshit. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. She's from England! We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! No! I'm very grateful to you, all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense, do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
Kazuma?
No, I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Oh no, is that the end of it? For now? Oh, that's right! Oh, at the beginning of the episode, there was a guy that sent his daughter out to get something that we were going to probably need. I totally forgot. Please, wait!
Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba. Yeah. Judicial assistant to the defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in furoshiki cloth. Oh no, we're gonna have to figure out what happened on the next stream. We hit our
and
save
with
point.
that, that's gonna wrap up episode 2 of the Great Ace Attorney.
We're
Chronicles
going to save our progress,
playthrough.
and we will
I hope
Friday.
this was a fun one. I really
Friday
love playing
at
this
8
game.
p.m.
Please like and
Central.
subscribe if you're enjoying the content.
We are going to
and we'll
figure
see you
out
at the
what
next
happened.
video.